everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2. Today, I have one last PTS video for you on the upcoming Year 8 Season 2 update, and in this one, I want to discuss the new gear set that we're getting. Largely, I wanted to talk about this because I've seen next to no one else discussing it, and that seems to have led to a general curiosity from the non-PC crowd on what this is all about, if it's any good. Now, I just want to say up front, I know people have discussed this in PTS overviews, recaps, whatever. Mostly I'm referring to dedicated deep dives on it. I was not personally able to find any myself when I searched. If someone out there did happen to make one, I'm sorry, cheers to you. But anyway, today I wanted to quickly hop on to showcase and discuss my thoughts on the new Ortiz Reficere Gear Set, or as Google Translate told me that it's pronounced,
Reficere.
And just to give you a preview, while I don't think this will automatically replace many of the strong and beloved medic sets and builds that we already have in the game, there is one area where I foresee this shining very heavily. We'll get right to it. If you enjoyed this one and you want to stay locked in for everything I've got coming your way for the next season of the game, which is approaching quite soon, then you know what to do. Be sure to subscribe. Have to give a major shout out and thank you to all of our channel members. Thank you all so much for showing up month after month to continue to support myself and the channel. But without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so here is the new gear set for Year 8 Season 2. It is a healing and skill focused set, so all pieces come with skill tier rolls by default, and its bonuses and talent break down as follows. At the 2 piece, you get 8% skill efficiency, at the 3 you get 60% repair skills, and the 4 piece reads as follows. Healing skills, duration, and range are decreased by 90%, but their healing efficiency is increased by 150%. Healing an ally with a skill will provide them with 30% hazard protection for 10 seconds, cooldown of 10 seconds. So, a very interesting proposition with this one, something that is going to reduce your duration and range pretty drastically, but in turn, you then get a huge boost in healing value. For reference, this is what the 90% reduction looks like in practice. Just to note, I'm not sure that the 90% range reduction is properly applying here in the PTS, because if it were 90%, it would be much smaller than this. I did be sure to note that in my bug reports and feedback, but the duration reduction is absolutely there. You can see that these chem launcher charges are gone in a flash. So off the bat, many of you might be thinking, am I really going to use this in the majority of content? And I'll just say myself, I don't really think this is going to become a go-to choice in PvE for a lot of people. It is worth noting that the backpack talent for this set does decrease that penalty from 90 to 25%, so that's something. Also, here's the chest piece talent in case you were curious. However, if you do run the backpack to negate those downsides, that then does lock you out of running birdies, which is one of the 2 most popular exotics to pair a medic build with these days. The other one, of course, is the BTSU glove, so if you wanted to run that, then this could start making a lot more sense. But ultimately, I think it comes down to, are you going to run this just to be really good at healing? But in turn, you then lose out on the utility team buffs given from Future Initiative, the damage and healing capabilities of Refactor, or the defensive properties that Measured Assembly give you. I'm not sure if that trade-off is worth it, especially when repair skills is already a pretty effective stat within PvE. Don't get me wrong, 150% efficiency is nice, but I think that it's just sort of overkill when the vast majority of players these days in the endgame run more damage and low armor-focused builds. Now, I do think it's worth noting that due to how this set and talent is constructed, it may end up promoting usage of more healing skills rather than the usual chem launcher and hive combo. The Mender Seeker Mine and Repair Drone come to mind. Those are less impacted by the range reduction since they automatically seek their targets out, and even with the shorter durations, you can build for skill haste to get them back quite quickly, given the immense healing boosts that the talent offers. Ultimately, where I see this getting the most use in PvE is wherever you may want a good dose of healing and hazard protection, because while a set like Cavalier does exist that lets you share all of your Hazpro with your allies, it inherently makes it a less effective healer because you have to build into it. In the case here with Ortiz Reficere, it lets you do both of them fairly effectively at once. And if you combine the 50% innate hazard protection bonus that repair skills grants allies when it's applied, the 30% from this set's talent, and the 10% that we get from our SHD watch, in PvE content, that is 90% hazard protection, which I could see being worthwhile in content like raids or incursions. That all being said, however, there is one spot in the game where I do think this set will get some pretty heavy usage, and that's in PvP. Now, disclaimer, you won't actually see any PvP gameplay within this video, but I did thoroughly test it within the PvE Dark Zone where the exact same balancing applies, so hopefully that is an acceptable testing method. But what I'm getting at is that when you enable PvP normalization, the 4-piece talent description of the set updates. Now, your range and duration debuffs are only 60%, yet the healing efficiency is also lowered to 80% to compensate. The hazard protection bonus is also brought down to 20%, albeit with longer duration and cooldown. So, why do I think this set is going to shine in PvP? Well, if you didn't know, healing values via skills get cut in half whenever you enter into a PvP environment. Historically, this has meant that in order to be an effective healer within the Dark Zone or conflict, you need to heavily spec into repair skills to keep up with the oncoming damage, and because of that stipulation and the lack of the overcharge mechanic in PvP environments, that has often led to a cooldown management deficiency where it's hard to get really good heals and really good uptime. However, Ortiz Reficere here remedies that. First off, its 2 and 3 bonuses are really good. I didn't mention that previously, as again it is less impactful within PvE due to the abundance of healing that we already have, but 8% skill efficiency is great, 60% repair skills is awesome, and then by only receiving a 60% range and duration reduction, that means that the chem launcher is still on the table if you are precise enough to directly hit your allies with it in order to get the healing effect. It also means that running the backpack to counteract the debuffs is not strictly necessary, I don't think, but this also means that you get even greater utilization out of the 80% healing efficiency. Again, PvP has always had an uphill battle when it comes to building out good heals. This talent carries that weight, and again, it means that you're free to then build into skill haste and have really good cooldown management at the same time. And so that's what I did in all of this gameplay that you've been watching. I have skill haste rolled on every piece and mod, and because of that, I rarely felt as though I was out of options. My chems were recharging as quickly as I was firing them off to teammates, and whether I was then rocking a Fixer drone or a Mender Seeker as my second skill, I often swap between the two. Both of those had like a 12 to 15 second cooldown. It just worked really smoothly, and I think this set will prove to be popular for those large scale firefights in the DZ, being able to easily burst teammates back to full armor who are low, maintain consistent healing throughout a long fight thanks to the investments in skill haste. The whole Has-Pro aspect of the talent is just an added bonus. Of course, hazard protection is very valuable in PvP due to how many status effect builds you run into. Even at its reduced 20% value, that plus the innate repair skills bonus means that you can grant your team up to 70% hazard protection, which is quite nice. So, across the board, while I do not think this set is likely to become meta anywhere, and it will definitely struggle to compete in PvE more, where abundant healing isn't as much of an issue, I think that you will see it get far more utilization in PvP, where its penalties aren't as stark and its buffs provide even greater value. So, there you have it, everybody. That is my rundown of the new Ortiz Reficere Gear Set coming in Year 8 Season 2. I very much hope you enjoyed. Again, I'd had a few people asking for more info on this one, so hopefully those 5 of you are happy, and maybe the rest of you learned something too. At this point, I would love to know all of your thoughts on this set, whether you hopped into the PTS or are just absorbing info through this video. Do you concur with my read on how this will fit into the existing medic meta, and how I think this will shine brighter in PvP than it will in PvE? Let me know. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts. As I mentioned in the intro, stay tuned for more Year 8 Season 2 coverage coming very soon. It's looking like next season's on the way next week. But until then, thank you all very much for tuning in today, and whenever I see you next, RogueGold out. Oh! We just got a Ravenous! Haha! I might not be friendly. Let's go.
Coming to the Division 2.
Let's go!
And